The holidays are behind us and school routines are back. Now is the time to help your kids start the new semester strong. IXL helps students refresh what they learned in the fall, so they head into the new year feeling confident and prepared. With new units and new goals, IXL is the simplest way to build better habits and stay on top of lessons without the stress. As teachers dive into new material, kids can practice those exact same skills at home to make sure the lessons really stick. IXL is an award-winning platform covering math, language arts, science, and social studies for pre-K through 12th grade. It's personalized, interactive, and actually fun. Keep your kids motivated for the second half of the year at IXL.com. Don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 96 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXLlearning.com/audio. Visit IXLlearning.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
Making plans with asthma can be awful. It always goes from, that sounds fun, to, in this weather, what if my asthma acts up? I got tired of saying no, so my doctor suggested Dupixent. I'm Rachel, and I'm sponsored by Regeneron in Santa Fe to share my story with real patients like me.
Dupixent, dupilumab, is an add-on prescription maintenance treatment for adults and children 6 years and up with moderate to severe eosinophilic or oral steroid-dependent asthma that's not controlled with current asthma medicines. Dupixent is not for sudden breathing problems.
Dupixent helps people breathe better in as little as 2 weeks. And now I don't even think twice about saying yes to plans more, rain or shine.
Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of signs of inflamed blood vessels like rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, brown or dark-colored urine, tingling or numbness in limbs. Tell your doctor of new or worsening skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor.
Do more with less asthma. Ask your asthma specialist about Dupixent by name. Visit Dupixent.com or call 1-844-DUPIXENT.
The San Francisco Symphony brings Beethoven's iconic Fifth Symphony to life in an electrifying concert that also features Shostakovich's playful piano concerto No. 1. Hear internationally acclaimed pianist Sung-Jin Cho join forces with SS Symphony principal trumpet Mark Inouye for this bold, high-energy program. Don't miss the San Francisco Symphony perform Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, January 22nd through 24th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.
David should not be bigger than Goliath. But in this case, David was significantly bigger than Goliath. Within this metaphor, David was Dr. Elena Cruz, a renowned arachnologist with a passion for unraveling the mysteries of the 8-legged creatures that were a source of terror for most people. What was it about spiders that made humans so fearful? What primal instincts make us look at them as pure evil? Even the smallest of their species would make people recoil and run, unable to face these tiny little specimens as we towered above them. Elena was en route to the Amazon jungle and a grant-funded expedition to get photos of the most terrifying of all spiders, Theraphosa blondi, the largest and one of the most feared spiders on the planet. This arachnid behemoth resides primarily in the rainforests of South America, particularly in the Amazon basin, where its presence sends shivers down the spines of even the most intrepid explorers. Except for Elena. Elena felt an odd kinship with these devilish insects. She was ready to meet her Goliath, which legend has it feeds on birds. Imagine a spider so big it could feed on a bird. What would it be like to witness this creature face to face? Elena wanted to know. Everyone she knew back home thought she was crazy, and she understood why. Who could possibly love spiders? Physically, the Goliath bird eater lives up to its name in every aspect. Its body can measure up to 12 inches in leg span, with some specimens reaching even greater lengths. Imagine a spider so massive that it can cover the span of a dinner plate with its legs alone. This colossal size makes it the heavyweight champion among spiders, dwarfing most other species in comparison. The Goliath bird eater's appearance is as intimidating as is its size. Covered in dense, dark brown or black fur-like skin, its massive body seems like a walking nightmare straight out of a horror movie. Its legs are thick and powerful, capable of propelling itself swiftly across the forest floor or scaling trees with ease. But perhaps its most striking feature is its fangs. Resembling miniature daggers, they can measure up to 1.5 inches in length. When fully extended, they give the spider a fearsome and formidable appearance. And despite its name, the Goliath bird eater does not exclusively prey on birds. While it does have the ability to capture small birds if the opportunity arises, its diet primarily consists of insects, amphibians, and other invertebrates. However, its hunting prowess and voracious appetite are legendary. It employs various hunting techniques, including ambush and pursuit, to capture its prey. Once caught, the victim is swiftly subdued by the spider's venom, which contains a potent cocktail of neurotoxins and enzymes that quickly incapacitate and begin to digest the unfortunate meal who was dead in its trap. And despite its intimidating appearance and formidable arsenal of venomous fangs, this spider is not inherently aggressive towards humans. It typically prefers to avoid confrontation and will only bite if threatened or provoked. However, the consequences of such a bite can be severe. While not usually lethal to humans, the venom can cause intense pain, swelling, and nausea, often requiring medical attention. Despite its fearsome reputation, the Goliath bird eater plays a vital role in its ecosystem as a top predator, having to control insect populations and maintain ecological balance. However, its status as the largest and deadliest spider ensures that it will fear and fascinate in equal measure for generations to come, except for Elena. Accompanying her into this Amazonian expedition were her trusted colleagues, each an expert in their respective fields, eager to delve into the unknown. In the dense heart of the Amazon rainforest, where the canopy filters light into scattered emerald hues and the air hums with unseen life, a team of intrepid researchers ventured forth. Their mission? To uncover the secrets hidden within the depths of this ancient wilderness. As they trekked deeper into the jungle, the air grew heavy with humidity, and the sounds of the forest closed in around them like a living, breathing entity. Yet, despite the oppressive atmosphere, their excitement only grew, fueled by the anticipation of discovery. Their journey led them to a remote clearing, where the undergrowth thinned and a sense of foreboding hung heavy in the air. It was there, amidst the tangled roots and creeping vines, that they stumbled upon it, a massive tarantula unlike they had ever seen. It's beautiful, Elena hummed. Her colleagues marveled but froze. They were nearly 50 feet from the beast, but within this moment it felt more like 5 inches. Its presence engulfed the entire area. Elena took out her camera and began to move slowly towards it. "Careful, Elena," said Pedro, one of her colleagues. "It's more scared of us than we are of her." Elena slowly raised her camera and began to snap. She felt in tune with the mammoth beast, zooming in on its eyes. All 8 of them. Its body was the size of a dinner plate, covered in sleek, jet-black fur that seemed to absorb the light around it. Its eyes glimmered with an otherworldly intelligence, and its fangs dripped with venom, glistening in the dim jungle light. Elena approached cautiously, her heart pounding in her chest. She had studied tarantulas for years, but this creature was nothing like she had ever encountered. It exuded a primal aura, ancient and untamed, as if it were a relic from a time forgotten. She had come this far. She had to go further. The tarantula stirred, its movements slow and deliberate. One colleague took off running in the other direction, causing a small laugh among the 3 still brave enough to remain there. Elena turned back. They locked eyes, It seemed to regard her with a calculating gaze as if weighing her worth. Then it began to move down its web towards her. The researchers recoiled in horror, their nerves frayed and senses on edge. They knew then that they had stumbled upon something beyond their understanding, something primal and unyielding, a force of nature that defied explanation. Two of the remaining scientists ran off in the other direction, following the first terrified explorer into the jungle path that they had forged to get here. "Elena!" the remaining colleague pleaded. "That's close enough." "Just a little closer." Elena hushed, moving closer. With every step forward, so too did the beast, matching her step for step. Goliath meeting David. Who was who? Ah! Elena turned quickly, concerned, towards her colleague who held his ankle in pain. "What's wrong?" "I felt something bite me," he said nervously, clutching his ankle. She turned from her ailing colleague back towards Goliath. It was gone. She looked in every direction, and the beast was nowhere to be found. She sighed and squeezed her hand, upset. "Elena, please." "Okay," she compromised. "Let's go back." "You'll live." This was the sarcastically flirtatious assessment of Pedro's ankle bite by the resident nurse. She smiled and then tossed her gloves into the wastebasket as she went to go wash her hands again. "It stings," Pedro insisted. "Mosquito," Elena chimed in, as she crossed through to grab herself a water. She continued, "Amazonian mosquitoes do not inject toxins into their victims. Just a little reminder that this jungle does not belong to us." "I knew that already," Pedro said. Elena drank her bottled water as she walked back through their lodging. They may be staying in the jungle, but their hut was modern and sophisticated, built with hardwood and bamboo to withstand the harsh environmental conditions of the jungle, including heavy rain, strong winds, and potential animal intrusions. It had a raised platform, elevated off the ground on stilts to protect it from flooding during the rainy season and to minimize risk of encounters with ground-dwelling creatures like the snakes and insects. A sloped thatched roof made from palm leaves provided additional protection from rainfall and insulation against the heat of the sun, maintaining a comfortable temperature inside. Mesh screens allowed for ventilation, while also providing additional gates from any insects and small animals. A sturdy, lockable door made of metal would give security and keep out larger animals or unwanted visitors. Dinner consisted of a light ribbing at the expense of the first colleague who ran back to camp after they encountered the Goliath. He nodded and took their jabs, acknowledging it was not his proudest moment, and he would have to make up for it in the future. Elena rushed eating, even passing up the daily ritual of a glass of wine because she was so eager to examine her pictures. She laid on her little hammock and then turned on her little camera. There she was, the Goliath, staring right at her. The kinship was special. This magnetic beast that was so tiny in size compared to her and her cohorts, yet was able to project such power and fear. You had to respect that. No other species on Earth of its diminutive size exuded such a palpable sense of terror. It was beyond primal. She was fascinated by our connection to the eight-legged nightmares. Why can we look at a dog and feel such love, yet look at a spider and feel such malice? After glancing deeper into Goliath's eyes, she turned off her camera and closed her eyes, excited to share her findings with her colleagues and sponsors from back home. Most people would toss and turn, unable to sleep after staring into those eyes. Dr. Elena Cruz fell right into a comfortable slumber.
New year, healthy goals. So what's for dinner tonight? Hatfield marinated pork tenderloins, of course. Packed with protein and oven ready in about 35 minutes. Hatfield makes fresh starts easy. To find retailers near you, visit simplyhatfield.com. Hatfield, better care, better pork.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
Hi, it's Daniel from John Buys Bay Area Houses. Is your house more trouble than it's worth, dealing with endless repairs, frustrating tenants, or an inherited property that's just sitting there? You're not alone. A lot of homeowners feel stuck, not knowing where to start. That's where we come in. At John Buys Bay Area Houses, we make selling your house simple. Just call 510-800-JOHN or visit our website and you'll get a fair cash offer in minutes. We buy houses as is. That means no cleaning, no repairs, no agent fees or commissions. You choose your timeline, you skip the hassle. We handle the hard part so you can move on with confidence. Start fresh. Don't let your house hold you back. Call 510-800-JOHN or search online for John Buys Bay Area Houses to get your cash offer today. That's 510-800-JOHN.
Start fresh with John Buys Bay Area Houses.
Her apartment looked smaller than she had left it. This was her standard feeling every time she returned home from an expedition. Somehow her surroundings were shrinking in size the more she saw of the world. As soon as she stepped inside her apartment, she heard the squawk. It was Nico, her charismatic cockatoo. With his striking white plumage, expressive chest, and playful demeanor, Nico was Elena's closest friend. She had missed Nico's 9th birthday, for which she apologized and asked if she had been treated well by her neighbor, the sweet but overly nosy Mrs. Salguero. Mrs. Salguero had agreed to check in on Nico every other day for upkeep, new food, and water, yet never forgot to remind Elena that she should be settling down with a husband and kids. Nico is a sulfur-crested cockatoo, known for his outgoing personality and remarkable intelligence. His vibrant personality shines through as he struts around the apartment, entertaining her with his antics and charming vocalizations. Elena never really felt at home while she was home. She would get anxious. Most people would be blown away by her home, and she felt constricted. Her apartment was small, but near the ocean, in a picturesque coastal town of Parachi, nestled in the southeastern coast of Brazil. Parachi is a gem of colonial architecture with its cobblestone streets, colorful houses, and a lush tropical vegetation. This small town, with its population of around 36,000 inhabitants, offers a tranquil escape from the hustle and bustle of city life. As you wander through the narrow streets of Parachi, you'll be greeted with a scent of fresh seafood wafting from the local restaurants, the vibrant sound of samba music emanating from lively bars, and the warm smiles of the friendly locals. The town's rich history is evident in its well-preserved colonial buildings, many of which date back to the 17th and 18th centuries when Parachi was a thriving port town. One of the most sought-after properties in Parachi is a charming apartment situated on a hill overlooking the azure waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Perched atop a quaint building adorned with colorful tiles and wrought iron balconies, this apartment offers panoramic views of the coastline and the surrounding mountains. This is where Dr. Elena Cruz lived. As you step inside, you'll be greeted by a bright and airy living space, adorned with tasteful furnishings and local artwork. Large windows bathe the apartment in natural light while providing uninterrupted views of the ocean below. The living room is cozy yet spacious, with comfortable seating where you can relax and unwind after a day of exploring the town. The kitchen is equipped with modern appliances and ample counter space, making it perfect for delicious meals using fresh ingredients sourced from the local markets. Enjoy your culinary creations at the dining table, which sits beside a large window overlooking the ocean, allowing you to dine with a breathtaking view. Outside, a communal terrace provides additional space for relaxation and socializing. Sit back in a lounge chair and soak up the sun, or take a refreshing dip in the sparkling pool while enjoying a gentle sea breeze. With this apartment as your home base, you'll have the perfect vantage point to immerse yourself in the beauty of this enchanting town. These were the captivating pitch phrases she had put together a month prior, having contemplated selling her apartment, eager to explore a new country, even though the list of places she had not seen was beginning to thin. Tonight, Elena would be hanging out with Nico and a glass of red wine, staring at the globe, debating which uncharted territories to explore next. The sun began to set, and a magnificent orange stream began to shine through the terrace down onto her feet. She curled up onto her couch and let the night tuck her in. She did not sleep well. She never slept well the first night she was home after being away for so long, tossing and turning. Most people would feel snug within these walls, and she felt confined. Resigned to not falling asleep inside, she walked out onto her terrace. Her quiet terrace, humbled by her surroundings. She slept better out here. It felt more familiar to her adventurous spirit, and she finally nodded off, sprawled out onto her makeshift hammock just as the sun began to rise. She awoke that afternoon feeling refreshed. She didn't even need coffee, but it was so ingrained into her daily routine that cognitive conditioning took over as she made her way to the kitchen. Normally, Nico would hear her wake up and begin to chirp, so he could get his day started as well. But today, he was quiet. When she took off his nightsheet, Nico's cage was empty. Nothing but a few stray yellow feathers. She was in shock. How could this be, she wondered. Nico can't leave. It's impossible. His cage was slightly open. Two of the bars from the side seemed to have been expanded, giving extra access. How would he? But how could he? She turned around and began to search, yelling out, "Nico? Nico!" He was nowhere to be found. The terrace. Oh my God, she thought. She had left the terrace open. He had gotten out of his cage and flown away. She was devastated. How could she be so careless? But then she heard it. Gnawing. She couldn't quite make out what it was at first. She followed the sound toward her bedroom. It was loud and distinctive enough to travel from the bedroom to the living room, and it drew her closer. It sounded like chewing. She looked along the walls and then up in the corner of her bedroom. Tucked away, barely visible through the shadows, was Nico. He was being spun, slowly, sideways, as the Goliath ate Nico's face.
Making plans with asthma can be awful. It always goes from, that sounds fun, to, in this weather, what if my asthma acts up? I got tired of saying no, so my doctor suggested Dupixent. I'm Rachel, and I'm sponsored by Regeneron in Santa Fe to share my story with real patients like me.
Dupixent, dupilumab, is an add-on prescription maintenance treatment for adults and children 6 years and up with moderate to severe eosinophilic or oral steroid-dependent asthma that's not controlled with current asthma medicines. Dupixent is not for sudden breathing problems.
Dupixent helps people breathe better in as little as 2 weeks. And now I don't even think twice about saying yes to plans more, rain or shine.
Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of signs of inflamed blood vessels like rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, brown or dark-colored urine, tingling or numbness in limbs. Tell your doctor of new or worsening skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor.
Do more with less asthma. Ask your asthma specialist about Dupixent by name. Visit Dupixent.com or call 1-844-DUPIXENT.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
What does it mean to live a brave life? It's about showing up, staying grounded, and having the physical and mental energy to handle the pace of life. And that is one of the reasons to love Ancient and Brave and their pure, potent, powerful supplements. Ancient and Brave has been an iconic wellness brand in the UK for years, and now they've launched in the US with incredible products that change the game, like their True Creatine and True Collagen. They come in gorgeous jars or on-the-go sachets for wherever you're off to. Ancient and Brave is a certified B Corp and members of 1% for the Planet. They offer tools that genuinely support and nourish your brave, backed by scientists and experts. Right now, Ancient and Brave is offering an exclusive offer. Head to ancientandbrave.com and use the code EMMA for 20% off your first order. Give your body a little daily bravery. It adds up. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Elena's scream could be heard across all of Brazil. She slammed her bedroom door behind her and then began to pace around the living room. How had it gotten here? Had it snuck into her bag? The campsite was several miles from where they had found it. Had it followed them? Had it followed her? She approached life scientifically, logically. None of this made any sense. Regardless of whether or not it made sense, Nico was dead. And he had died brutally. The venom had quickly invaded his blood and rendered him paralyzed, after which the Goliath had secured him in its grip, brought him up into its web, and slowly devoured him, inch by inch. Her hands trembled as she picked up her phone. Who to call? What to tell them? As she began scrolling through her contacts, she jumped. Someone was calling her. "Hello?" she said, shaking. "Dr. Cruz, it's Maria." The nurse from the expedition. She knew this was bad. Why else would Maria be calling her at home the first day back? "Hi, Maria. Is everything okay?" "It's Pedro. He... The pauses between words felt like oceans. An avalanche of despair began to pummel her. "What, Maria? What happened?" His brother went to his apartment this morning because he had not been answering his phone calls. So when he wasn't answering the knocks on the door either, they forcibly went inside. They found him. What happened? You aren't telling me anything. Something hatched inside of his bag. And then while he was asleep, there were so many bites. Elena dropped the phone. She could hear Maria continuing to talk as she slowly turned. Her bag. She was so tired when she came home last night, she didn't even unpack. So she turned, slowly, and sitting there next to the door of her apartment was her bag, slightly opened. She began to move towards it. When she stopped, slowly rising out of her bag was a leg. A long, furry leg, longer than her index finger. It seemed to weave up and out the opening of her bag as if it was being extended in real time. There was not one, but two Goliaths in her home. One had Nico in her bedroom, roasting and chewing like it was a Thanksgiving turkey, and now another one had nestled inside of her bag, waiting to be awakened from its slumber. It was clear. They saw her as a threat to their new home. Having spent the better part of 15 years dedicating her life to species such as the tarantula in their natural habitats, enchanted by their fierce power and riveting splendor, she was now paralyzed with fear. They had invaded her home, just as she had once invaded theirs. Another long leg followed the first, wrapping themselves around the opening down towards her floor. One leg after another began to emerge until she saw its eyes, its blood-curdling eyes. The Goliath was now standing outside of her bag, staring through her. She took one step forward. So did Goliath. She took another step forward. So did Goliath. They matched each other's movements until they were standing 5 feet away from one another, waiting for the other to make a move. And then Goliath charged. Elena darted behind her, the only clear path towards her terrace, and then slammed the door behind her. She could see a shadow, a large shadow waiting just behind the door. She turned out onto the large communal garden and looked around. Down below was Mrs. Salguero, humming a song to herself as she continued to plant and tend to her garden. "Anna!" she yelled down. "Anna!" Mrs. Salguero turned and smiled and waved, happy to see her neighbor enjoying the sun. "Good morning, Elena!" Elena quickly ran through her options and then began to contemplate the jump, hovering just above the railing that separated her apartment from the ground below. Elena? Mrs. Salguero looked up, now confused. Elena, what's wrong? Elena wrapped her leg over the railing, positioning herself to jump the story length between her and Mrs. Salguero. She took several large breaths and then leapt down. As soon as she hit the pavement, Mrs. Salguero screamed with bewilderment as Elena grabbed her ankle in pain. She rolled over onto her back as Mrs. Salguero ran over, confused, continuing to ask what was wrong. Elena sprung up, determined, and then asked for a telephone. She followed Mrs. Salguero towards her apartment and gave no information as to the horrors that were slowly making themselves at home in her home. She quickly dialed the number of a colleague in her department that would be able to help, explaining the entire situation. The person on the other end was Goodman, a bit of a wild card within her circles, who claimed to have seen every known monster in the world. He was pushing 70 with the youthful spirit of a 21-year-old. He was never afraid. There was no corner of the earth he didn't have a jaw-dropping story about. So when he was told that there was not one, but 2 Goliaths inside her apartment, he did not respond with calm and panic. He responded with a pen and paper, asking for her address, and telling her to grab a cocktail until his arrival. He would handle it, he said. Where are the little devils? Goodman's first words upon meeting Elena outside her apartment complex eased her panic. He was equipped with an extermination hose and backpack, like a rock star Ghostbuster hell-bent on insect annihilation. She pointed up towards her apartment and led him through the hallway, up the stairs, until they were right outside of her door. He smiled, winked, and told her to hang back for a minute until he could assess the situation. And then he opened the door. Her bag was right there. So, too, in her mind, was Goliath. Goodman kicked over the bag to see if anything would come flying out. Nothing did, excluding a tank top and some toothpaste. Elena hung back as Mrs. Salguero stood behind Elena, holding a broom as if it was an axe. They both looked on as Goodman proceeded to carefully walk into her apartment, whistling, trying to get them to come out for one final battle. Elena saw it first. She could barely open her mouth and form audible words, but finally, with a horror-stricken whisper, she said, "Up." Goodman looked up towards the ceiling. Webs. The entire ceiling was now covered in webs. The Goliaths had claimed this land as their own and were beginning to make themselves cozy. Goodman persisted forward, continuing to whistle, calmly making his way towards the bedroom as Elena looked on anxiously. Goodman turned around, calm as a cucumber, and walked over towards the front door. He smiled and said, "No exits," and then closed the door. Elena now had to stand there and wonder what was happening. Goodman moved in silence as her mind had to calculate what could be happening just a mere 10 feet away. Elena turned around, seeing Mrs. Salguero clutching her broom, and they both waited for what felt like an eternity. After half an hour of excruciating waiting, the door finally opened. Goodman stood there. For the first time, he was not smiling. Mrs. Salguero could not contain herself. "Well, did you kill them?" Goodman paused, and then he just shook his head. "Gone," he said. "You killed them," Mrs. Salguero insisted. "No," Goodman said softly. "They're gone." Elena was horrified. He held out his hands. "What is that?" Mrs. Salguero shouted, clutching her chest. "Eggshells," Goodman responded. "They hatched. They could be anywhere in the building." Mrs. Salguero gasped. "Call the cops!" she yelled while crossing her chest. They had a number to call, a number for such emergencies, but they knew that every minute before their arrival was a minute of potential disaster. They began running towards each apartment, banging on the doors, yelling for them to open. Not everybody would respond. Apartment 1. Carmen Lopez. She was eating soup for lunch. She always ate soup for lunch. It was easy to make and the ingredients were cheap. She sat on her couch, watching the news, when she felt something odd. As she put her spoon into her soup bowl, which normally consisted of liquid, this time she felt her spoon hitting something inside of her soup. Something hard, something big, and then it poked its eyes out.
The holidays are behind us and school routines are back. Now is the time to help your kids start the new semester strong. IXL helps students refresh what they learned in the fall, so they head into the new year feeling confident and prepared. With new units and new goals, IXL is the simplest way to build better habits and stay on top of lessons without the stress. As teachers dive into new material, kids can practice those exact same skills at home to make sure the lessons really stick. IXL is an award-winning platform covering math, language arts, science, and social studies for pre-K through 12th grade. It's personalized, interactive, and actually fun. Keep your kids motivated for the second half of the year at IXL.com. Don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 96 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXLlearning.com/audio. Visit IXLlearning.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
Hi, it's Daniel from John Buys Bay Area Houses. We hear from homeowners every day who need to sell fast, whether it's a life change, a problem property, or they just can't wait around.
After my divorce, the house felt too big, and I wanted to downsize.
I needed to relocate for a new job, but my house was holding me back.
At John Buys Bay Area Houses, we make selling your house simple. Sell as is without any fees, commissions, or hassles. Just call 510-800-JOHN or visit our website and you'll get a fair cash offer in minutes.
I found the perfect smaller home. It's a huge relief.
They took care of everything, and I could move on time.
Start fresh. Don't let your house hold you back. Call 510-800-JOHN or search online for John Buys Bay Area Houses to get your cash offer today. That's 510-800-JOHN.
Start fresh with John Buys Bay Area Houses.
DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices, we'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands, or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or at DSW.com. Let us surprise you.
Apartment 4. Antonio Garcia. He was taking a bath. He worked overnight into the morning, and his favorite way to decompress after a long night of working security at the local hospital was to take a bath and smoke a cigar. He didn't need music or TV, just the silence in his tub. The temperature turned to the perfect degree. His left hand dangled out of the tub, just above the ashtray so he could keep his bathroom floor clean. Well, clean enough so his wife wouldn't yell at him for making it look dirty. He took a big drag from the cigar and then let his hand dangle just above the ashtray. Just as his eyes began to drift off a little, his hand flew up into the air and he screamed. Something had bit his hand. Rosa Fernandez, apartment 8. She was unloading her laundry, and she felt this oddly enjoyable. Maybe it was because she associated it with the years of being a mother to 5 children. And when you have 5 children, you do a lot of laundry. But they had grown now, and she was doing laundry just for herself. She reached down, grabbed all of her fresh-smelling, fresh-feeling clothes, and dropped them into her wastebasket. As she walked back towards the bedroom, she felt something on the bottom of her flip-flop. It was a crunch, a sticky crunch. She looked on the bottom of her flip-flop and saw something that stretched across the entire sole. It smelled bad. She put it closer to her eyes and nose, disgusted and intrigued. As she zeroed in on what she assumed was a cockroach, something else was hovering just above her, slowly lowering itself down by a web. Juan Torres, apartment 14. He couldn't find his shoes. Oddly enough, this was a semi-regular occurrence. He would place them near the door, always. His mother, however, would clean his apartment and then put his shoes somewhere new every time, much to the chagrin of Juan. Today, when he came home, it was no different. They weren't near his closet. They weren't near his recycling bin. They weren't even outside the door. Today, they located behind his couch. This made no sense on any level because there was a carpet behind his couch. So she would have had to move his shoes multiple times to clean around them, rather than just leaving them by the front door. He took a shower, desperately needed after his jog, and then he went to go find his clean shoes to wear before going over to his girlfriend's house. As soon as he put them on, he felt something inside. He assumed it was a rock, but it was squishier than a rock. He wiggled his toes for a moment, and then he felt it move. The emergency response extermination unit had arrived wearing full protective equipment and began to inspect and spray every inch of the apartment. She stood outside with Mrs. Salguero and Goodman as she looked up and watched them take apart what used to be her home. Mrs. Salguero was calling her sister, who lived towns over, asking if she could spend the weekend there, terrified to sleep in her own bed, fearful that one of the Goliaths could be waiting for her in the shadows. Within 10 minutes, the ambulance brought out the first body. It was covered with a white sheet. Elena turned around and vomited. Goodman tried to console her, but she just batted his hand away. As she was bent over, trying to control her breathing, another body in a white sheet was brought out. One after another, after another. 4. 4 bodies. All because of Elena. She had brought it back, and now people were dead. Other neighbors began to arrive after word quickly spread of what was happening. They were all standing outside the complex, crying, trying to understand how this was possible. Goodman could sense the growing sentiment. Elena had caused this, and he wanted to get her safe before a mob formed. Elena, let's go. I can't. Elena, I'm not asking. Let's go now. Goodman took Elena by the arm and led her through the crowd. One of the neighbors began to follow them and yell. Goodman began briskly leading them away, squeezing her forearm tightly until they reached his car. Get in. She did. She wasn't talking. She couldn't talk. How could she? What would she say? Goodman knew she would never forgive herself, so what good did it do to anyone to make her feel even worse than she did right now? He drove fast. He never drove fast. But today was not a normal day. Goodman dropped Elena off to a hotel at the edge of town, half an hour away from what used to be her home away from home. Goodman had grabbed her wallet during his investigation into her apartment, but beyond that, she had nothing. Just the clothes on her back. She didn't even have shoes. Still barefoot from her daring leap off of the terrace. Goodman tried to reassure her, but it did not matter. She felt like a murderer, and there was no way that she could ever go back to her apartment. Ever. Her neighbors hated her, and she had always taken for granted having a place to relax that was continents away from her expeditions. Now there was no barrier between her and her nightmares. They were linked forever. She laid in bed, watching television as the midnight hours continued to pass, alone in this hotel room, hoping beyond hope that there was some new adventure in the wings that she could get past what had occurred during the last day. Something so magical it could make all of this feel like a distant dream. Finally, her eyes began to grow heavy, and she shut off the TV, rolling over onto this new bed that felt foreign. She tried to close her eyes, but she couldn't. Every time she did, she saw her neighbors, seeing what they must have seen. She had seen this beast. She was one of the few people capable of picturing the horror. Her mind couldn't help but wander down the dark paths. It was all she could see and hear. The creak in the floor, the whisper of the wind. She lived her life in logic, but now she could not help but wonder. What was that sound in her bedroom?
Get smoother, brighter skin instantly in one easy step. Dermalogica's daily microfoliant gives you the smooth, glowy skin you want without damaging your skin barrier. This gentle exfoliating powder activates with water to smooth out rough texture and brighten skin. It's powerful enough to deliver results, yet gentle enough to use every single day, even on sensitive skin. See the results for yourself. Visit Dermalogica.com and use code SMOOTH at cart for an exclusive free gift with $65 purchase.
You're a pro at running your life, at committing to your workout, at showing up every day. At Bombas, we're pros too. Pros at making socks. Our sport assortment has specialized socks for whatever sport you're committed to. Running, hiking, golf, Pilates, and so much more. Made with sweat-wicking yarns, blister-fighting details, and targeted arch support. Bombas Sport is pro-level socks from the pros of socks. For another pro, you. Go to bombas.com/audio and use code audio for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com and use code audio.
Hi, it's Daniel from John Buys Bay Area Houses. Is your house more trouble than it's worth? Dealing with endless repairs, frustrating tenants, or an inherited property that's just sitting there? You're not alone. A lot of homeowners feel stuck, not knowing where to start. That's where we come in. At John Buys Bay Area Houses, we make selling your house simple. Just call 510-800-JOHN or visit our website and you'll get a fair cash offer in minutes. We buy houses as is. That means no cleaning, no repairs, no agent fees or commissions. You choose your timeline, you skip the hassle. We handle the hard part so you can move on with confidence. Start fresh. Don't let your house hold you back. Call 510-800-JOHN or search online for John Buys Bay Area Houses to get your cash offer today. That's 510-800-JOHN.